This don't look right. That looks better.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we'll call December 16, 2025, Lee County Board of Supervisors regular meeting to order. I'm going to ask Mr. Paul Davis, Jr., pastor of First Baptist Church, St. Charles, to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father God, we just pray, God, you be God with our supervisors tonight. And we ask God everything, God, be done in decency and order. We just ask God you bless each one that's come out tonight. God, we ask God you watch over and help our county, God, to be a place that's prosperous, God, as well as a place, God, that's godly. God, that we can uplift your name in every place, God, we go. Thank you again, God, for every blessing, God, that you've given us, and continue to watch over each one tonight. Lead us and help us in Christ's name. Amen.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Glenn?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No objection. We're going to adjust our agenda here for just a minute. Let Mr. Jones come up and give his presentation so he can get the ball game. All right.
You should be ready. Are you going to do that now, or you want to later on?
Well, I was just going to step through that if that's ready. By any chance, the presentation, the slideshow, did you all get a printout of that in your board packet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because this is essentially the same slideshow, but first of all, good evening. I hope each of you all had a happy Thanksgiving. I don't think I've seen you all since then.
Low batteries. You know, this one off that hitch, if I had to go through the rest of it, got 30 minutes. How's your grandson? Okay.
All right. Okay, the reason for my presentation this evening is, you know, we haven't had any adjustment to the qualifying threshold in the elderly and disabled tax relief program in a few years now. And we've been trending down with the number of qualified applicants for the last several years. And it's kind of twofold. For several years, it's been due to the income component because people are getting these small cost of living adjustments, but you know, with inflation, it's not really like they're getting any more money. It's just taking more money for them to pay their bills and whatnot, and it's bumping them out of the tax relief. And then the last thing we saw is with the last reassessment, and I'll go over that with the asset component to it. We're also losing people to that. So you know, if they've got a house and 15 acres or whatever, maybe they have a little bit of money in the bank, that reassessed value of the 15 acres, because their house and 1 acre is not counted in that, but any excess properties they own, it is counted toward their net worth. So I'll try to step through this really quickly, if I can. Okay, and this is a little bit about the current program. The income limit for the household, so that's you know, everyone living in the household is $35,000 is the total dollar to qualify for the program. There is a $2,000 deduction from the income for a relative other than the spouse that lives in the home. So a lot of times we'll have minor children that maybe they've got a job at McDonald's, Food City, something like that. Sometimes it's someone living there as a caretaker. Currently, $2,000 of that income is exempt and not counted toward that $35,000 limit. Other things that are included are salaries, interest on CDs, interest on dividends, rental income, pension, annuity, alimony or child support, public assistance, Social Security, or any other income. Now with the asset component, that is $95,000. And that only includes the, it does not include the house and up to an acre of land. So that value is not calculated in that, but any other monies, property, anything like that that they have, cash on hand, their checking account, savings, CDs, the cash value of life insurance policy, cash value of annuities, stocks, bonds, IRAs, household goods, automobiles. It doesn't show up too well on there, but I had highlighted other real estate because that's the one that's really kind of, lending to getting them bumped out right now. But also any accounts that the applicant or their spouse may have. So I'm looking at what some of our neighboring counties are doing, their income component, and several of the counties I spoke to, they're actually looking at amending theirs higher than what it is now. But currently, Wise County's at $42,000, their asset threshold is at $85,000. Scott County is at $40,000, and their asset threshold is $100,000. Dickinson County, interesting enough, I think they're the only county in the state, they do not have an income or asset threshold. Their tax relief is capped at $150, but once you turn 65 or you are permanently totally disabled, you qualify for that $150 tax exemption. So they do not have a qualifying threshold. And currently highlighted there in red, ours is at $35,000 and $95,000.
Just a quick question, real quick. When Dickinson County does that, what do you think about that compared to what the other counties are doing?
From speaking to the commissioner there, it's because they have an aging population similar to Lee County, a lot of younger folks are moving out, it's kind of eating them alive. So I don't know that I would recommend going that route because you could have billionaires that are getting the tax relief program just because they make it to 65. So you have some people that maybe don't quite fall under the poverty level or the needy that are getting it. One reason they've done that, and I'll touch on it briefly, they never moved. When they went to split billing, they didn't move to a fiscal year. So the reason they've done that is so they wouldn't have to set their tax rate so early in the season. They could just go ahead and do it's $150 straight. So ours is tiered on a sliding scale depending upon the income, and I've got an example of that in here. So I would caution maybe pump the brakes on proceeding down that path would be.
Yeah, I was just curious what the
Yeah, even though theirs is $50 less than our cap, a large percentage of their population gets the relief because it's just 65 or permanently totally disabled. But anyway, some other localities in Southwest Virginia of similar population. As you can see, they range here on the income limit anywhere from $25,000 to $55,000, and on the asset limits anywhere from $50,000 to $175,000. So the most prevalent number in that is $40,000, and then the asset limit is around $100,000. It's probably going to be the most common number. But like I said, several of these localities said they're doing the same thing that I'm doing tonight. They're getting ready to go and seek an adjustment to their program. Some numbers that I pulled from the census data. Our population currently at 22,000. We have almost 5,000 that are persons 65 years and older, which is 22.6% of our population. So nearly 1 in 4 Lee County residents are elderly. The median household income of the county is $42,000. Per capita income is about $25,500. I did highlight too the percentage in poverty under the poverty levels, 27.6%. We have 8,446 households, and poverty by rank in the state of Virginia, we're the second, number 2 most poverty in the state. So I do feel this program is something that it does show a great need for enabling people to be able to qualify for the program. This here, you can't quite see it on the screen, but if you have it in your handout, you may be able to tell a little bit better. But the numbers down at the bottom above the year, that's the total number of applications that we had processed. We got those out in the mail, or people printed them off our website, mailed them to us. And in 2017, that was 980. And the number at the top in 2017, 664, that's the number of applicants that got some form of relief, you know, whether they qualify for 25%, 50, 75. But through the years, that number has kind of steadily declined to 2025, we only have 441 that received relief. So it's a pretty significant drop from a high of 664, but I just wanted to go back and catch, you know, the last few years to kind of give you an indication. And a big reason why we're seeing that decline is they're not able to qualify because of the income component, and now most recently the asset component. On here, the graph that you see in green, that is the total tax amount due for each account that receives tax relief. The area that you see in the sort of gold color, that's the amount of tax relief that they got. And as you can see, it's fairly steady as you come across, you know, the different years. The applications, you can see, sort of declines, so does the tax relief through like 21 to 22 to 23. It comes down a little bit. 24, the reason you see that sort of green bar go up a little bit, that's the year when the tax rate was adjusted. So that's why that went up, but the relief amount, if you see there, remained fairly flat. The 2025, the reason that is low is that was only the 6-month book that we ran in 25 to get on schedule with the fiscal year. So that's the reason it's showing about half of 24 is because that was just for January through June. And then in fiscal year 26, that's the reason I put FY 26 there, you can kind of see the amount of tax that's due on the accounts is significantly higher, but the amount of relief is pretty comparable to 23, 24. So the amount the difference they're having to come up with is considerably more. Alternately here, you can kind of see the number at the top. The green shows the number from the real estate book for each year. 2017, it was like 5.8 million. The amount of relief that year was 104,000, and it barely shows as gold on the graph down through there. And that number is pretty consistent all the way through. Again, the 24, as you can see, the increase when the tax rate increased. Then 25 was the short book, is the reason that comes down. As you can see, fiscal year 2026, it's at like nearly 10.3 million. But our tax relief is at 86,000. So proportionally, it's you know, quite a bit less than what it had been historically because fewer people were able to qualify for the program. Also in that 10.2 number, that's probably not quite that amount because what we ran into is, you know, we ran the book. There was several of the, not several, but a good number of the adjustments that the assessors had made. They signed the book and gave that to us without keying those in. So we've had people that come by and they have their paperwork showing this is the adjustment, and we've had to go back and key that in. So that number is going to be probably a little less than that, but it should be, you know, around that 10 million mark. Our recommendations, I guess, is to increase the qualifying thresholds for the program, to increase the number of qualifying applicants. Currently, the tax relief is awarded on a sliding scale and capped at a $200 maximum relief amount. And the breakdown currently is if your total household income is under $20,000, you get 100% relief up to $200. The next bracket is 20,001 to 25,000 to 75%, 50% from 25 to 30, and 25% from 30 to 35. And the example I gave here shows like if someone's tax assessment is $120,000 times the 69-cent tax rate, that generates an $828 tax bill currently. Let's say their total household income is $32,900, so that puts them in that 25% relief bracket. Their other assets and monies in the bank equate to $78,000 in asset value, other than the residence and 1 acre of land. So in this scenario, they would qualify for the 25% relief. 828 times the 25% relief is 207, but it's capped at $200. So that's the maximum amount of relief is 200. So even though they only qualify for 25%, they still get the full $200, if that makes sense. That's the reason I wanted to show that, because some folks, they think it's 25% of the entire bill or 50% of the entire bill. I was like, no, it's capped at $200. Even if you qualify for a lower percentage, you may still get the maximum relief. The proposed changes that I come up with to sort of be on par with some of those other localities is to increase the qualifying threshold to $40,000, and that would break the on the income component, that would break down up to $25,000. They would get 100% relief. 25 to 30 is 75, 30 to 35 would be 50%, and 35 to 40 is 25%. I also propose to increase the asset threshold from 95,000 to 125. This is the exact same parameters that Carroll County has. They're also pretty similar in population and whatnot to us. I think theirs was amended just in the last year or two. Some of those other counties that had the lower asset number, I think, are looking to amend that. So just to kind of get out in front, I thought that may be a better place to go. The tax relief amount, that's currently capped at $200 a year, and just thought leaving it at that number would maybe give us a little bit of stability, because there may be an increase when more people can qualify. So if you were to also increase the money and also increase the number of people who qualify, it could cause a substantial jump. That may be something to revisit down the road, but my proposal was just to leave that at 200. Additionally, some things that I noticed in the ordinance, when switching from the calendar year to fiscal year billing, the ordinance language really needs to be updated since we switched to the split billing. The way it's currently worded talks about the owner they have to own the property in the preceding December 31, like in the preceding year. But now that we're doing a fiscal year, it really needs to reflect and say June 30. That way, it would match the billing of the real estate. And also, the way the ordinance is currently worded, if they do not pay their taxes by the October 31 due date, then that relief is withdrawn. So like in the example I gave earlier where the tax bill was $800 and some dollars, that qualified for 2, they have to pay the other 6 on time. If they don't, then that 200 is withdrawn because they sort of didn't fulfill their end of the contract, their obligation there. So, but that really needs to be changed to May 31 because that's the end of the tax year now instead of October 31. So those are a couple of different just language changes I think that need to be made. Additionally, the other income for family members residing in the home, I would also propose that be changed from $2,000 to $5,000. Some other counties even had really detailed language that exempt all, like minors, all their income. So, if you got a 16-year-old that's working at Food City or whatever, like all their income was exempt. Again, that's something for y'all maybe to consider, but I did think it was important to maybe at least change it from $2,000 to $5,000. A lot of those kids aren't going to make more than 5, working a job like that. So in conclusion, there's been a total decline of 170 annual applicants over the past 8 years. It was at 980 in 2017, down to 810 in 2025. There's also been a steady decline in the approved applications over the same period of time. We went from 664 approved applications in 2017 to 441 in 2025, which was a decline of 223 households receiving relief from this program. Again, some of the major contributors to the loss of tax relief over the years are due to small increases in Social Security benefits, adjusted real estate values from the recent reassessment, and any other small asset or income increases. The 3.45 average inflation rate of $1 has produced a cumulative price increase of most everything by nearly just 11% in just the past 3 years alone. So some individual items have increased even more than that. This equates to income not going as far as it did only 3 years ago. Simultaneously, the current qualifying threshold, that's getting fuzzy, I can't read it on the screen. The current qualifying threshold of the existing tax relief program has also reduced their ability to qualify for this program. Then I went on just to add that current inflation costs hurt us all, and for those already on a limited budget, it can mean the difference between buying food, medicine, or being able to pay their real estate taxes. So thank you for this attention to this matter and for helping the most vulnerable of our senior and disabled citizens. So I just hope you all would consider, I know it would probably take a public hearing to amend those ordinances, but any consideration that you would give would be greatly appreciated.
Any questions?
I got one, Mr. Jones. There was a lot of people this year that because of the reassessment, the values going up, that qualified the year before that didn't qualify just due to the reassessment stuff too. So there were people that were, you know, that had been used to getting this credit and they couldn't anymore just because these thresholds hadn't been adjusted with that.
And
just something to think about.
And it's really nothing they've done on their end.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
the income didn't change, nothing changed, just the reassessment kind of did that.
yeah, kind of done that, but y'all have any other questions?
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Jones.
all right, thank you all. You want me to take this or just grab it tomorrow?
Whatever you want me to do. If you want to take the laptop, I'll get the rest of this stuff out of your way tomorrow.
Okay.
That way you don't have to worry about where your laptop's at.
Okay.
Right up here.
Thank you all, and let's hope that Lee beats Cape City. Good luck.
Good man. Thank you.
Since we've moved to delegation, we'll just go ahead and finish those out. Nobody has a problem with that.
Yeah, Mr. Sherwood, I spoke to Ms. Patton, a week or so ago, and about now, right? And I appreciate you taking the time to hear her.
So, I think you all probably have in your packet.
They do not.
They do not?
Well, we might make
Okay.
copies.
So we are requesting opioid abatement funding from each of our settlement localities. I'm with the Southwest Virginia Workforce Development Board. For the past several years, we've operated a program called ROPES. And that program is to assist individuals that are in some type of substance use recovery that are hoping to transition back into the workforce. And so a strategy of the Workforce Development Board for the last several years has been to focus on the labor force participation rate in Southwest Virginia. Our unemployment rate is not all that high, and we know we have an aging population. We have a population that's shrinking, so it lends itself to the question, where is our workforce going to come from? Well, currently, regionally, from Tazewell County west to Lee County, our labor force participation rate is only about 45%. Now, for the state and national average are both around 65%. So we have 55% of the folks in Southwest Virginia that could be working that aren't working. That's ages 18 to 65, people that aren't drawing unemployment, so the long-term unemployed. So what we began to do in the Workforce Board is to look at what some of those populations were that were sitting on the bench that could be working, and what were the barriers that they faced. And one of the big populations that we identified was those in substance use recovery. They could be working, but they needed some assistance. And so for the past several years, we've operated this program. We're currently on a Work 5 grant. That grant is ending. And so we are hoping to pursue opioid abatement funding to be able to help us continue that funding. So we have asked for each of the localities that we serve, which are both all localities in Little Wisco and the Cumberland Plateau, to contribute $25,000 out of their local opioid abatement funds to allow us to apply for one of the regional grants to be able to continue funding for this program. So some of the things that we do for individuals in this program is we're looking for individuals that are at least have 6 months of recovery time. So I have some letters of support that hopefully Mr. Wright can share with you from places like Higher Ground Women's Recovery Center here in Lee County, as well as the probation and parole that serves this region, and the Recovery Through Christ Ministries. We work with a lot of these folks to get referrals for individuals that are a good, solid recovery that are looking to return to the workforce. And so we do a number of things with them. Number one, all of our case managers are peer recovery specialists. And so they have lived experience, so they can help them maintain their recovery. We also work on helping them address barriers. So we have funding within this program to help with first month's rent. We have a Cars to Work program that I'll talk a little bit more about in the latter. We have money to help with counseling, or what are some of those other challenges that would prevent them from going to work. We've helped with medical types of needs. Whatever those challenges are, then we put them into some type of training. A lot of those trainings are more short-term trainings because these folks need to be going to work. So we put them in things like heavy equipment operator, CDL, peer recovery specialist training. Sometimes we put them in a work experience where we would put them straight into work. But to get them some type of skill set where they can earn a sustainable wage for themselves so they can maintain their recovery. Because we know if they can't get a job and support themselves, they're going to end up right back in addiction. They're going to end up right back in the correction system. So our goal is to help them be able to support themselves so they can maintain their recovery long term. We help pay tuition. We help with books. We help with whatever tools that they need to go to work. So, for example, if they're taking a welding class and they need a welding shield and personal protective equipment, we can help cover the cost of those things. And then we have worked with over 100 businesses regionally to place individuals in employment. We do that in a couple of different ways. If we have an individual that comes to us and they've never worked, we put them in what's called a work experience, where we might go, to a local restaurant, or to we've even put people with some of the localities, helping with the town crews, different things like that, just to learn some basic work skills. I come to work every day. I show up. I work as a team. I take initiative. I can take directions well. Just learning the world of work. Then we might transition into an internship where we would place them within a business where they might be going to work permanently. So they've taken CDL training, but they've never drove a truck. We would put them with someone and say, okay, we're going to do an internship with them. We're going to pay them a stipend during that internship with the expectation of we're going to do some job coaching while they're in this internship. And at the end of this internship, if they work out well for you, that there's going to be a job at the end of that. And then we provide services for them once they get employed to help make sure that they stay in that job and that they're still maintaining their recovery. A part of this program is our Cars to Work program. And with the $25,000 that would be matched, that we're asking for match from Lee County, that would go to Lee County Cars. Our Cars to Work program has over a 90% success rate. We've purchased close to 50 cars for participants that are looking to return to work. 90% of them have paid their cars off and they are continuing to work. How that program works is they have to complete all of this group's program. They've done all the things that we asked them to do, and they're ready to go to work. Transportation is one of the largest barriers that people in Southwest Virginia face trying to return to the workforce. They don't have a car, their credit is shot, so they don't have a way to get a car, and they can't get to work. So what we do with this Cars to Work program, they can apply for a car. We will work with them to identify what that car needs to be. Do they need a work truck, or do they need a minivan to get their kids from school? We purchase that car up to $6,000. So we work with local car dealerships to get those good trade-ins. We have a couple of independent car mechanics that work with us to make sure that they're in good shape, that we're not buying things that are going to break down our participants on the road. And then they purchase that car from us for half of the price. It's a $100 down payment, and it's $100 a month, and that payment does not start until after they draw their first paycheck. There's no credit check involved. As long as they meet the conditions of they maintain their sobriety, they stay working, and they pay their car payment on time, they can keep that car. At the end of the repayment period, which is approximately a little over 2 years, they, as long as they've met all the requirements, they keep that car to use as a work vehicle, or now they have a trade-in that they can use to kind of offset bad credit to take and be able to trade in for another vehicle. And like I said, we've had a tremendous amount of success with that program, but we've never had funding to do that in Little Wisco. So we're pretty excited to be able to bring that program down here to this end of the region because it has been so successful. I think that's pretty much, gives you a good synopsis of the program. Do you all have questions?
If you could, I would add to that real quick, just for you if you don't care. This program is prime for the Opioid Abatement Authority money. We're in a little unique situation here in Lee County where I've got all of the direct funding that we get from the Opioid Abatement Authority. It's earmarked already for another program, all of it, but we can, which is something a little different than the other localities are doing, we can go after the indirect funding, which is a grant, and I'm trying to learn how to do that grant application for this actually did part of that today. But it's a prime program for that, and even the transportation for people that can't get to work, that sort of thing, that is a huge obstacle for these folks. So really what I would request from the board to try to help this program would be to give you the authority to apply for that grant, accept the money, and pass it through, if that's okay. But it is a prime candidate for those funds.
And you said our current funds is committed now?
The direct funding is committed. Okay, there's 3 buckets of money from the opioid abatement. You've got the direct funds, then there's the indirect funds that you apply for through a grant type process. I mean, it's allocated to Lee County. They just have to accept the program. This program, I am 99.99999% sure that would be accepted by the authority for that. And then there's another little small bucket that if you do everything right and dot all your I's and cross your T's, there's another little even set of numbers. But since back a year or so ago, we made the commitment for the Works program that was being funded 50% by the Opioid Abatement Authority with the direct funds, and the plan for that was to fund it through 2039 at a 50% rate. That's already allocated, and the math has been done. Now, if new money comes available or whatever, then we can look at it, but at this point we have that committed. So, but I have zero problem with learning that process and trying to get the money to this program, because I really think it would help.
What has other counties?
So currently, Dickinson County has, they're going to be serving as fiscal agent for this grant. So they've committed $25,000 to this. We have commitments from Wise County, Scott County, Buchanan County. I go to Tazewell County tomorrow, but I've already talked with them. I anticipate that they're going to commit. Still working with the city of Norton. I ran out of evenings I could commit to meetings, so I'm probably going to get that to them in January, and then I'm on the agenda at the Russell County Board of Supervisors in January. So I've got a little over half commitments from half.
And I have spoken to those administrators too, the one in Miles County and the one in Deacon, and I've spoken to about this program.
On the paperwork, more or less of this, usually when somebody gets in tough times, the first thing that they let go is the insurance. So do you all police that pretty much?
Yes. So, one of the other things I forgot to mention, and the other challenge is most of these folks come to us without a driver's license. We can help them pay for VASAB, and we are one of the only programs in Southwest Virginia that can do that. And so that can help them get their driver's license restored. So to get a car, they have to demonstrate their need. They have to have a job lined up that we can verify. They must maintain full coverage insurance. Most of them are on the SR22. We do have a little bit of funding to help them get started with that, but we sit down and work out a budget with them so that they know each month what they need to have coming in and going out, so that we have a game plan to make sure that insurance gets paid every month and that rent gets paid. So we work on those financial literacy skills. The car must be tagged in their name. So, can't put it in anybody else's name. It has to be tagged and insured and registered in their name. So we do follow up to make sure that they're maintaining their employment and, as a byproduct of that, that they're maintaining their sobriety. If they fail to meet any of those criteria, we will repossess the car. And I can tell you, we've only had to do it a time or two, but we will go get the car and, give it to someone else that's in the program that's deserving. So we've had a better than 90% success rate. Most of the time they get to the point that they would get a car, they've been with us for a while and demonstrated that they're serious about going back to work. So you couldn't come enroll in our program and then tomorrow we're going to put you in a car. So most of the time, most of our referrals come from some of these other recovery homes and things. So they've worked with them for a while, and then we get them, we put them through training, we put them through these work experiences, and they're ready to go to work. Most of the time, if they're not sincere in their intent, they'll drop out of our program before they get to the point of getting a car. So I thank you all for your time this evening and your consideration. We do hope that we'll be able to continue with this program, and you all do have some great folks that we're working with here in Lee County with some of these programs. So lots of good stuff happening. So thank you all very much.
While he's on his way, would you like to take action to let me apply for that grant and pass that through? Would you like to take that action?
Take it, but we can.
Well, I just didn't know, so we can take it up later, but whatever you'd like to do.
All right. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Travis Collins. I'm a lifelong resident of Lee County. I currently reside at 271 Bergen Road in Pennington. I've spent the last 20 years working in law enforcement as a first responder. I currently serve as chief of police within Wise County. As I understand it, you are trying to find some solutions in reference to a few items. One of those is the consideration of privatization of our rescue squad services, or to keep those the same, or to use some type of hybrid model. The locality that I work for, they decided to go with a privatized model. An additional company took over that area recently as the primary and first due response, and I just wanted to share some experiences and how that worked out for our locality, just for your consideration as you go through that process. The newest company, they have worked out very well for us, and I think that's primarily because of the structure and the agreements that were reached between the company and the county government. For decades, our government-funded or volunteer rescue squads have served as a symbol of security in our community, but today we're in a new crossroads. The men and women that currently serve our rescue squads in Lee County, they're great people and they have a passion for service. I think most of them get some type of compensation, and it is certainly not the compensation that they deserve for the job that they do. However, the reality of the 21st century EMS services is much different today than they were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The costs associated with purchasing ambulances, equipment, salaries, other expenses have made it difficult to maintain without significant support from local government. To keep our citizens safe without crushing the taxpayer, we must consider all options, and I understand the challenges that you all have before you. I think some of the most common questions that we get asked by our local government are consistently, how do we add jobs and revenue for our locality? How do we cut current operational expenses? And how do we improve services to our citizens? I think this process that you're going to go through, you'll be able to see different options and what challenges you're going to face with each one. First, we'll talk about the bottom line, the tax burden. Currently, every resident pays for rescue squad services, whether they use it or how often they use it. I understand that the county budgets approximately $300,000 to help provide financial support to our local rescue squads. Each of them have equipment, fuel, operating expenses that grow each year. A consideration for a privatized model, the contractor company takes on that burden as part of the operating expenses for the business. Private firms specialize in the complex world of medical care, Medicaid billing. It helps capture revenue that may be left on the table otherwise. This allows us to reallocate tax dollars to other critical needs like infrastructure, education, or other essential services. A second consideration is the agility factor. In local government system, buying an ambulance that may cost $300,000, that may require several years of preparation to budget out and to plan for that type of that purchase. They have a private company has the capital to refresh their fleet and upgrade the state-of-the-art life-saving equipment at a much faster rate. They aren't waiting for a budget meeting. They're able to invest the funds as they need. And I think some concerns that may be brought up is does that fear that private means lesser care. In reality, I think the confines and the requirements within the contract that can be set within the board and how you negotiate those things out. The difference of the private model, they're able to sometimes and oftentimes have newer equipment that's not on the budget of that locality. But just as an understanding, I think I would encourage you to make a list of what your current expectations and concerns are. Have each agency, whether it's private or the local agency, and present that to the board. Some of those questions and things that you might want to ask would be to include, but not limited to, what is your average response time? What training equipment do you have currently? What training equipment do you anticipate needing in the next 1, 3, or 5 years? And what are the number of jobs? What does that pay, and what benefits could be offered? The company that took over for our respective area, they hired the ones that were already in that area. It only makes sense. They're familiar with the area, they're familiar with the response time, they're already trained and certified. It was an opportunity for our locality to add jobs and increase training and provide services for the community. But I think you guys have a lot of opportunity to tailor it to fit the needs of what you need and how it's going to best serve the citizens of Lee County. But if you ask them all to present that, it should give you an idea of what they can and cannot do, and if it meets the needs and expectations that the board has. And I understand the challenges that you have in front of you, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Department reports, constitutional officer reports. We'll open the floor for public expression. You don't have anything? See if anyone comes forward. Report and recommendation from the board. Well.
I have nothing. Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. It'll be here before we know it.
We as board members, one of our tasks is bringing in jobs to the county. And what Mr. Travis was speaking about, I think this would be a very good opportunity at that. I feel there's going to be some good paying jobs for the county and services for the public. I hope every the officials and all the people involved in rescue squads and everything, I hope you'll look toward what is best for the county and we can all pull together for the best interest of the county. See, short and sweet.
Same as,
Can't read my own
well,
mind.
Merry Christmas to
Can't read my own
everybody.
mind.
All I have.
I just got a couple of things. First, I'd like to just to let everybody know that as a group here, we all, we want to share our concerns about the incoming government that's coming in, and we want to reassure everybody that we still stand firm on our commitment to a resolution that we signed back in 2019. And I wanted to ask about, were you able to go to the airport authority meeting?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I talked to him about a couple of things, and one of them being about receiving some drones from Mountain Empire.
Yes, actually, I sent them a letter today. The board had given me authorization to do letters of support in instances where it didn't require any financial obligation, that sort of thing, just to do as I knew the board would see fit. So I went ahead and sent that letter actually today to the chair, Jason Spears, the chair of the Airport Authority, and he has that, and I hope that works out, because that'll be huge to try to help build some. I'm not sure if the school system has a drone club now or not, but all of those drones that they have, they've got them from the little bitty things to the huge ones, and it would be a big deal to be able to do that. We could fly them at the airport, of course, but they're willing to spearhead that program with some help from the school system, or maybe vocational school or whatever, to try to do that. So I went ahead and did that.
Roger, I attended that meeting as well.
Okay. All right, I just want to touch base on that. That's all I have. Thank
The
you.
resolution you're pointing to was the Second Amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree, and I forgot all about that myself.
Well, we had talked about,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I didn't have the number of the resolution, but
19-021.
okay.
There's a copy of that in your board package under being in new business.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Could we post that resolution on our Facebook page,
We can.
please?
Do we need a vote to reaffirm that or anything?
That would be at your all's discretion. I mean, it's already there. I know everybody here stands for that, rock solid. If anybody questioned that, that would be odd, I would think.
If the governor asks about it, you can fire it.
I will.
Yeah. Have a call, Brian.
Reports and recommendations, county attorney.
I don't have any pictures.
County administrator.
I have a laundry list. I'll try to get through it real quick. Does the board have an interest in holding that public hearing for the relief structure that Mr. Jones was speaking of, to try to do that, or have a workshop of any kind? I mean, we can postpone that. That's just one of those things as far as the budget's concerned. We'll have to get on that fairly quickly. If we need to do a public hearing, we're looking at January, so that if we put that off, then we're looking at February. So I didn't know what your pleasure was to try to do something with
If
that.
it requires a public hearing, we ought to go ahead and schedule it.
It will. That's a code.
Yeah, I would be for going ahead.
I'm fine with that as well.
And I forgot, I also want to bring up the garage. The garage that was discussed at the Canada garage, the addition. I feel like we need to move forward on it. It was done October 2022. And it's yet to be done, am I right?
You are correct. Actually, I spoke to Mr. Collinsworth about that today, and there's a couple of projects that are out there, but right now, to be quite frank, the Public Works Department is a little stretched. I think we're a person short, that we've not really had any we've not taken any action to replace one person. And I've still got, we're working on lights in the hangars at the airport. I still don't have the caulking done here at the courthouse on the east end of the building. There's some things that I've had to get done, but I reiterated to him today actually that there was board action that was taken and we need to take it serious.
You need a vote on that or just consensus?
No, I just need to keep my thumb on that.
Okay.
Moving on here, we saw the presentation from Ms. Patton about the possibility of applying for that opioid money. Do you want to take any action on that now?
I'll make a motion to allow you to apply for the money.
I'll second.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is some things that just come in this week that should have been in the board packet. There was no way to get it in there. It came in late. Johnson Controls, their contract is coming up. The total for that contract is $1,326.40, which is the same as the current contract. And that is all the door accesses here with the cards where we get through. No increase in that cost. Actually, was actually able to get them to come in and do an inspection yearly as part of that contract. I would like to renew that with them if possible.
You feel it needs to be done?
I do, yes.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I also received notice last week about our PSAP ASI agreement. It was not renewed in August. This was an oversight by AT&T. They didn't send the agreement to us. The new agreement for the PSAP, which is part of our 911 system emergency management things, it is actually, the new agreement actually is the same cost as the old agreement. It would extend it through August of 26. The total agreement is $62,114.16, billing at $5,173.18 a month, and I'd like to have permission to extend that contract.
Make a motion to allow you to extend it.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, I only received one response for the RFP for the janitorial services in the courthouse. Mr. Harris submitted a bid at $38,500 annually on the proposal. That's the same as the previous contract, and I would like permission to be able to accept that contract. For janitorial.
So moved.
Second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Financial disclosure statements will go out at the end of the month. Those things are better to get, just so you know. I'd like to have these completed before our next regular meeting in January, and I will be sending out notices to anybody that's on boards, that sort of thing, that doesn't comply with that, because I think I was in March or so last year trying to get those things in. And so just kind of so you know, because that's one of those things, it takes a few minutes to do, but if you keep the year before, you're kind of good, unless you have a financial change of some kind. But those will go out. I'll need to get those from all participants. So if you talk to anybody that's on any of the boards or anything like that, when those come in, they need to take this serious, because I will recommend removal on those in the February meeting if I don't get them. Okay, those, we have to have those. Also, there was a handout that I wasn't able to get in the packet that is a proposed small purchase and procurement policy. This is something that has been in the recommendations from the auditor the last few years. I've worked on that the last month or so with the auditors to get that done. If you don't care, look over that small purchase policy. I think there were several updates to that where the state code had changed, some federal code had changed to try to meet all of those obligations in our purchase policy. So if you take a look at that, then I'd like to maybe be able to take action on that sometime in January. We're in our regular meeting. And through the work at Lynn Wisco on the Western Lee Housing Project, Leslie and I have been working on an access road into the industrial park. Some of you may or may not be aware that there's a $500,000 that was earmarked for a project up in Keokee from Ambler. They have relaxed some of their requirements of being, close to a high wall, that sort of thing. So what I have done is requested those them to be able to move those funds to the industrial park to try to get an access road off of the east entrance to the industrial park. We're working with them, TVA and VDAP to secure funding for that. And in the process of doing that, I found out that we do not have a general services agreement or anybody under contract for engineering services. So what I would like to do is put out a RFP for a general services agreement so that we can have somebody readily available and under contract to do the engineering stuff for us for some of these projects that are coming, because we're going to have that as a standalone for the Western Lee housing now. And if we had to do that at every bid, that would be cumbersome at best, because you wouldn't have somebody that was kind of familiar with you. So if, what I'd like to do is have permission to put out an RFP for a general services agreement on engineering services.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The airport liability policy is set to expire on the 23rd of this month. I got that notice yesterday. I don't know how that one slipped by them, but I need authorization to renew the liability policy for the airport, and that is not an increase from last year. $3,574.
Motion to renew.
Second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Let's see, received a letter today from the town of Pennington Gap concerning the funding for St. Charles Fire Department. They're requesting additional funding to extend their coverage after January 1. I don't know if you've all had a chance to look at that or what, but we funded that at 50%. And so they're looking at, well, the way the letter reads from Mr. Harless, town manager there, as a result, the Pennington County Council voted to provide fire services to St. Charles community for around half of the year because of the funding that was consistent with that funding. That service period will end on January the 1st. If the county doesn't agree to fund the balance necessary to provide for your coverage, the town will be unable to continue service beyond that date.
How many fire calls does St. Charles receive in a year?
I don't have that information.
Does Pennington?
Huh?
Would Pennington?
Yes. I can actually try to find out for you here. Send a couple of text messages out, but I really don't know.
I was just trying to figure out what half of them is worth.
Okay. Let's see, moving on, we're still in the process and the project is on schedule with Scott County Telephone for the changes in the phone system here at the courthouse. I was asked for information concerning the regional jail system, concerning the refund payment which was made. A reconciliation for the local contribution to the jail system was over budget, so we actually wrote them a check for $36,015.97, which was remitted back in October. The debt service, however, was overpaid, which will get the contribution back, which was $177,886.59. The reason for the debt service is a calculation of a percentage of inmates, so you can be up over budget, but other localities are up over budget, and the way all of that debt service works, and the math works out, it's a share, so that's how that works on that inmate count, just so that you have that information. You're going, and I apologize for this being as lengthy as what it is. I have been working on a plan to revitalize the Institute building over here. I actually had a conversation with some people from DEQ. This is just to give you a heads up on this. I'm actually looking at and not applied for, and I'm not ready to say anything about it as far as trying to get an application in for it, but there is some Brownsfield grants that are available to try to help revitalize that building, to do asbestos, that sort of thing, and they are extremely interested in the Institute building and trying to help us with that. So that's just one of the things that I've got going on. We have uploaded a bunch of information. Actually, I uploaded 102 files today, thanks to the people in my office for doing that, and actually in the treasurer's office for getting some information together for that. And I will say that everybody, present company included, has been participating in that really well. I don't think we're going to meet some of the deadlines that we have just from the scope of the information that they asked for. Might delay that whole process a little bit, but they have asked for a lot of information, and we are getting that to them just as quickly as we can on the forensic audit. Last thing I've got is the Southwest Virginia Legislative Reception in Richmond is on the 28th January at 5:30. I am planning on attending that. Some of the things that you spoke about, like the Second Amendment thing and sales tax, that sort of thing. I plan on talking to a lot of people about that while they're there. You do have the opportunity to go if you would like, and I would be more than happy to go up there with you. I know that Ms. Litton is attending that also from the EDA. And last thing is, this is the last thing. I do need a closed session for investment of public funds and personnel, please.
And approval of minutes, November 18th, 2025, regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And administrative report, payroll warrants have been issued.
Make a motion to pay the bills. Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of disbursements. Supplemental appropriation.
Mr. Chair, there are several supplemental appropriations that need to be made that it's getting the money into the appropriate buckets to be able to pay that through the budget. I would ask that the board approve those supplemental appropriations, and they are detailed in your packet on that one page.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Right.
On the new business, board appointments. Appalachian Juvenile Commission. That's you, Mike.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Guilty Code Appeal.
Motion to table.
Second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. Department of Social Service.
And so there's two on here.
There is two. Mr. Wilson, who is actually from your district, he has served 2 full terms, and according to code, he is not eligible to reappoint. In Ms. Eldridge, I'm assuming is District 2. They are eligible.
District 3.
Is that 3? Okay. They are actually eligible to reappoint. If you look at the code on that, Ms. Eldridge served a partial term, so if you look at the definitions on that, they don't count a partial term as serving in a full term, so that one actually is eligible for reappointment, but Mr. Wilson is not.
On one of them, I'll make one motion to appoint Christy Lee.
Second.
Motion and second on Christie Lee, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Make a motion to appoint Larry Rudley, District 3.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Drought and Water Authority.
I make a motion to reappoint both.
Second that.
Motion to reappoint Bill Mullins and Ron Bailey Jr.
Bill Bonds, Ron Bailey Jr.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Part Appalachia. Make a motion to reappoint Miss Leslie Litton to that.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Planning Commission.
Have a motion to table.
Motion table, all in favor?
Second.
Or second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? PSA. Greg Rest.
Duffield, Virginia. Ain't that district?
They come over and stick with
Still addresses out there.
At that one, I make a motion to table that one. I've not made any contact with them, see if he's interested.
Second.
A motion and second table, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Roger Case.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Don't have nothing against Roger, but I think that's, well,
You get that name.
Redevelopment Housing Authority.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I have went to sleep on this, but I got word today that Gina Garrett, she is over the director down there, and she absolutely wants this lady back on there.
That's your choice.
Well, I've not spoken with her, but if that's what Gina wants, that's what I want, because Gina thinks that's the best. But like I say, I've not spoken to this lady personally, but
Make a motion to approve her, and if she's approved, and if she don't want it, she can resign.
yeah, we'll do that then. I make it. Because Gina was really wanting the lady back on, said she's very knowledgeable of this stuff.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What's the name?
Reba Nelson.
Reba Nelson.
Southwest Virginia Emergency Medical Services.
Make a motion to reappoint.
Motion to reappoint Adam Sheridan.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Southwest Virginia Workforce Investment.
Mr. Shoemaker wants it out.
You still on them?
Well, by all means, if anybody else wants to, you can have it.
I nominate Mr. Shoemaker.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's see. Upper East Tennessee River Roundtable.
Make a motion to reappoint Roger Edwards and Phil Hensley.
There's
I'll
the
second.
alternate. Phil is the alternate.
Yeah. I second that.
So we've got a motion to reappoint Roger Edwards as the board member and Phil Hensley as the alternate. And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 2019 resolution in support of Second Amendment. I think
I think we
we covered that already. Quarterly appropriations resolution.
This is a quarterly resolution to fund the school system Head Start DSS. That's standard. It's a quarter of the budgeted amount that we do every quarter.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Garbage pickup cost.
Yeah, this is another one of those things that I was asked to put together some information, so I worked with Gary to get that information from him. I believe that figure may be a little inflated, but the county garbage collection cost, and this is from the convenience center sites to the transfer station, basically cost about $25.30 a ton. If you look like what that costs us.
Say that one more time.
It costs $25.30 a ton to bring garbage in from the
Dumpster.
dumpster
To jump to.
to the transfer station. I think that's a little inflated.
I think it's a lot inflated.
Well, that includes the vehicle insurance, the uniforms, the boots, the parts, the fuel may be a little overstated. That is writing off the depreciation on the trucks, all of it.
He did refigure the fuel, and it's a little bit cheaper because he figured the fuel just on the 3 working vehicles
Yeah.
instead of the total fuel amount of the excavator, gravel trucks,
Yeah, and the other
skid steer,
maintenance.
tractor. I mean, this is fuel at the airport. I think that he figured just and he dropped that down to.
But you stated 25, 30, whatever a ton, just for transporting from the dumpsters to John Street.
Correct.
What's that got to do with the airport fuel or a lawnmower?
Because the fuel was figured into that price, and he refigured the fuel again. At first, when he first figured, he just,
He pulled all the fuel for the public works and didn't narrow it down just to the
Just
trucks.
us.
Yeah, it actually made up for, I think it brought it down into the $24 range when you did that.
Yeah. Any more questions?
So is this here what we doing with this here?
This was just information I was asked to provide.
We looking at saving some money here about doing away with this, or?
Well, that's a board decision. There's a lot of other things that happen through the works program that when I get into some trouble and it's been a panic thing, that's kind of where I go, to be honest with you. So, there is some other tangible things that is done through that works program just because we have it.
Correct.
EMS funded remaining budget total?
Yeah, this is just for informational purposes too. I was asked to see how much money was left in the budget line for EMS agencies. The original budget amount was $300,000. As of the 9th, we had $133,000 left in that budget line.
You have to break down who still has some money out there they can collect. I mean, I'll need it now, but I mean, you've got that.
Yes, there is a spreadsheet that has both fire and rescue on that.
I'll get with you.
Yeah, and I can just email, if you've got Excel, I can email it to you and you can just take a look at it.
I got whatever's on my phone, that'll work.
Just stop by and see me.
Or whatever's on my computer, I've done that.
Actually, item F is an item that I wanted to talk about in closed session with you all.
The guys over would like an answer on that. Number D. Well, I've not got a vote in it, but I think they want to know.
What's that?
number D right there.
Garbage pickup job,
Yeah,
kind of answer to them up, and put you.
well, they want to know if you're gonna go with, do it as it is, or farm it out to,
Nobody's brought it up before us to do anything for us officially.
come to the,
Well, have
he
you done
presented
it?
it to Robbie. Didn't he? Want to do that?
Yeah, but no formal proposal has been made, no, I mean, really, I don't know how seriously my
No
was.
figures. I was there.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, you was there too.
But like I say, the guys want to know, I mean, if they're gonna have a job or not.
I don't think as of right now, there's any plans to do anything any different, are there?
Well, what I'm getting at, we need to make this decision on this, or else there's no use of hiring somebody.
Well, nobody's put nothing before the board, we ain't got nothing to talk about.
Well, it's not fair to hire somebody, is what I'm getting at, and then turn around and his job be gone.
But nobody's come, we've not even had no discussion about doing any of that.
Now's the time to discuss, that's what I'm trying to,
I don't think we can discuss it without any numbers.
We ain't got nothing,
We don't have any numbers to look at.
And just because one person come and was gonna pitch their idea, it had to be put out for bid, correct?
yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, we're nowhere near even, none of that, though.
Well, I mean, we're in limbo with needing help over there. That's what I'm getting at.
We,
I mean, it's not.
We can get them help, as far as them worried about their jobs, they ain't got nothing to worry about, nobody's talking about getting rid of jobs.
did,
It's been proposed.
did you,
They know, somebody's paid off, there's no proposal, that we're entertaining, that's the thing.
have we got application?
We have had a few applications, we got them here, we can look at, that was another one of those items that we were looking at for closed session for personnel.
Good. So you make a motion going to closed session 2.2-3711A1 employment personnel and 2.2-3711A6 investing in public funds.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Merry Christmas to you all.
Yeah.